Jones Cove Road onto Highway 321, going in the direction that leads to Gatlinburg and passing the Foothills Parkway here shortly. And pretty soon I'll be going into what's known as the Cosby Campground. It's a campground that's actually inside of the national park to where today's trailhead is. Coming up to the intersection where if we were to turn right and continue on Highway 321 right here, we would be going into Gatlinburg. But instead we're going to continue here on Highway 32, and then we'll be at the Cosby Campground going on to the Snake Den Ridge Trail. I'm in the parking lot, and the check-in station is up there for the campground. There's a trailhead down here for the Low Gap Trail and the Lower Mount Camerer Trail, and then leading to the Appalachian Trail. The trail we're going on today is the Snake Den Ridge Trail, which begins in the campground near campsite B51. So we're going to be walking up into the campground. So walking in the campground to get to the trailhead, it's pretty quiet. Not many people here. A stray tent here and there, but not many people at all, surprisingly. Okay, now I'm walking up to the trailhead. And we're going to go up to the Appalachian Trail and turn around. Just seconds into the hike, and it looks like an old road. Don't know if it's used anymore. There's a gate there, so it's probably just used for official use by the park. And I'm walking uphill. So I forgot to say at the beginning, it took me about 8 to 10 minutes to walk from where I parked to the trailhead. The trailhead was right near campsite B51, and it was fairly easy to find once I was in the camping area. There were a couple signs just pointing to the B section and the A section, so I just went into the B section. And I'm still walking uphill. So I'm walking up to a sign, almost a half mile into the hike so far. The Cosby Horse Trail, the Low Gap Trail, and of course the Snake Den Trail that we're on, which goes this way. So this trail is called the Snake Den Ridge Trail, of course, and the reason it's called that is because it's known for its snakes. And from one of the guidebooks I was reading, it said that the way the trail positions itself up against the mountains, it's an ideal area for snakes to hang out. But then the book goes on to say, don't worry though, because the snakes just tend to migrate all over the park. And this is one of the areas that they migrate from. So I guess that's supposed to make you feel better if you don't want to come up on a snake. But I'm actually hoping that we see at least one snake today. You never know though. You can hike for miles and miles and not see any snakes. And then you can go a short distance and sometimes see a couple of snakes. And if I see any rattlesnakes, I hope they see me first so I can hear their rattle. But I see a wild turkey. Back in there, pretty well camouflaged. Oh, I see two. Probably cannot see them in this video. You might be able to see one of them moving. Well, they're both moving now. ever so slightly. The first mile section of this trail is perfect for trail running. I'm not going to trail run right now though, because I'm expecting some pretty steep climbing. So maybe do a little bit of trail running on the way back down, but I want to save my energy and my water. So I think it may be getting pretty hot today. It said it was supposed to be partly cloudy, but there's some sun coming out. I am under a blanket of trees right now, and it's pretty humid. Looks like it may have rained here last night. The trail's pretty wet in some areas. And I've come up on a very old graveyard. Some of these gravestones are really old. Can't even read anything on that one. Let's see. This probably started off with a different gravestone. Actually, the gravestone, the original one, is probably the one right behind it. And then a new one has been put here. It's like the same for this one. I'm going to walk back to the back part of this graveyard and see if I can read these older stones. I don't know if you can read this. It says Joseph Campbell, December 3rd, 1816 to I can't quite read it. May 28th, 1894, maybe. And there's another one here that I can't read at all. Somebody's put a coin on top of it. This is from the back of the graveyard, facing out. A lot of roots in here. Walking out onto a little spur trail here. Oop, just walked through spider web. So I've walked up to where this gravel trail stops and turns around and goes right back down to where we started. So the technical part of the trail looks like it starts here, roughly 7/10 of a mile from where we started. So now we get onto the real backcountry trail. I just heard a bunch of branches break in the woods. Sound like a bear creeping through the woods, but I did not see anything. Not very far away either. A little bit past that area now. Always makes my heart jump a little bit. So this is one of my favorite things to see in August on a hike, are the beginnings of fall leaves at the higher elevations. Not very many, just a wee bit. I guess I'm about 2.5 miles into the hike so far, and it's been damp and dark through most of it, but now I'm going through a sunlit area. Well, the elevation is pretty high where I'm at now. Temperature's dropped. Feels so much nicer. It's still humid, but it's a cool humid. I'm still drenched with sweat, but it feels better than being drenched with sweat in the heat. Hopefully I'll be getting to the top here soon. This is a pretty challenging hike. It's all uphill except for a couple of tiny little spots where it was level. close to the top, I had heard about this little open field area where supposedly there was a view. It's kind of cloudy up here. There's probably a winter view because it's too overgrown really to have a view right now. So I'm walking along here. Getting closer to the top, there's this mist coming up over the trail. Very mystical. Okay, I'm coming up on a sign. Let's see where I'm at. Close to the Appalachian Trail, 7/10 of a mile. Albright Grove. I've been on that one before, a long time ago. Gabe's Mountain Trail. Okay, so I guess I'm going to hit the other 7/10 of a mile to the Appalachian Trail and turn around. So here's a section right before we arrive at the Appalachian Trail where it looks like the trail sort of turned into a creek bed, which is dry right now, and then the trail is kind of off to the side of the creek bed. I think it'd be really cool to see this with a bunch of water going down it. I think there was a bunch of water probably going down it yesterday or the day before. Kind of overgrown here as we finish climbing to the Appalachian Trail. Oh good, it's not overgrown right here. There's been parts on this hike that have been overgrown, other parts that haven't been. Alright, I made it to the Appalachian Trail. Now I'm headed back down. Started at 9:04 a.m. and finished at 11:50 a.m. Of course, I stopped a bunch and I fell down one time and hurt my shin a little bit, but walked it off, so no big deal. So just under 3 hours going up. I don't think I'm going to do too much running on the way down. These rocks are pretty slick, and I don't really want to fall down again. Plus I'm a little bit tired. So we'll see about speed hiking and then slowing down during the hard parts. We'll see how long it takes to get back down. So some things I've liked about today's hike. I like that I've seen the varieties of mushrooms along the trail. I think if I had been out here a day or two ago, like right after it rained, there probably would have been more mushrooms. I've seen some that look like they were probably really fresh looking, as far as just popping up maybe 2 or 3 days ago, and then they've kind of decayed somewhat. But I've also seen some fresh ones, and I've seen a couple varieties I've never seen before. So I haven't really been speed hiking down yet. My left shin is hurting a little bit from when I fell down, and it's slippery through a lot of parts, so I'm just being a little extra cautious, but I am going faster than I did going up. So I'm about maybe 2/3 of the way back down. It was actually kind of challenging coming down in that upper section because the ground It was still pretty wet. Rocks were slippery. I haven't fallen down coming down the mountain yet, but I have slipped a little bit and tripped a little bit. So I'm trying to really keep my eyes on the trail as I go. This section here is has dried out some, and it's definitely noticeable that it's warmer down at this lower elevation. I think I was close to 6,000 feet at the turnaround point at the Appalachian Trail, and if memory serves right, I think this trail starts off at about 1,500 to 2,000 feet. I'll have to look that up and see, but I like going down, and I'm so looking forward to getting back to the car, getting my energy drink and my Cliff Bar, and heading home for a nap. Okay, made it off the hard part of the trail, and I'm back to this easier part. It was a tough climb both directions. Almost, well, I guess it would be a little over 10 miles by the time I go back down the easy part, but definitely memorable. So I did decide to do a little bit of trail running after all on the really easy part. I say it's easy, but I have fallen on easy parts before, and it's not fun. Usually by the time I get to the easy part, I'm kind of fatigued, and if my foot catches a rock, I can go tumbling, but I'm trying to be extra careful. Lifting my feet high and trying to concentrate on what's in front of me. Alright, back at the gate, back at the sign that's at the gate where the gravel road starts, and now I'm going to jog out of the campground. Alright, so I'm slowing down to walk the final 300 or 400 yards back to the car. Up in the distance you can see the station that people go through who are coming to the campground, where they pay to visit the campground and camp. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed spending a little bit of time on this hike with me. And until next time.